to, are you speaking again or this dinner?
Colin's house.
Where am I going?
The house party.
Are we running?
Not yet.
Hey, Tim.
We could be running on empty.
Tim, what town are we going to next? Dover.
We're going to Dover? Do you get to eat at Dover or do you have to speak again?
Speak.
Speak again. It's a lot.
Okay, are we rolling? Let me sit up straight here
Yeah.
for once.
We ready, guys? Let me know. What's your fleece say? Is that you?
Yeah, it's my old. I just need a fleece.
We ready, guys?
Yeah. Sound is rolling.
Sound is good. Welcome, Governor.
Thank you.
Welcome. This is our second episode, our second taping of The Shannon Show.
All right.
I'm Shannon.
Okay,
So you're in the right place?
The Shannon Show. That's great.
We're on your bus with you, and I don't know if you've noticed, but you're going backwards because I can't go backwards. So we're having you go backwards.
I know, it's
'Cause I
really
can't do
hard.
it.
Yes, because I understand. I can't fly backwards, but I guess I can drive
You can
backwards
drive
as long as I'm focused on my interview.
We're in New Hampshire, we're on your bus. Without using any platitudes or cliches, give us your elevator pitch for why you should be president.
Well, I don't have any platitudes or cliches anyway. So, because I have the experience to know how to create jobs and the experience to know how to protect the country.
I
How's
think that got us to the second floor.
Well,
What if we were going to the sixth floor?
well, I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, I have experience in balancing the federal budget and creating jobs and having growth and opportunity for people. And I spent a lot of time on the Defense Committee learning all the intricacies of national security and foreign affairs, and then those two things are really important. And I think I have an ability to help lift this country and restore its spirit. And by the way, I'm also the governor of Ohio.
You are the governor of Ohio. You spend a lot of time in New Hampshire. What distinguishes New Hampshire voters from other voters around the country who you've had an opportunity to get to know?
Well, I think New Hampshire voters are a lot like Ohio voters, to tell you the truth. These are people who are independent, they're smart, they think about what a person's capability is, they're not taken in by a lot of rah-rah. And, you know, I think it's a small enough place, at 1.3 million, where you can basically see most people and they can make a judgment, not just about, you know, the three issues you have or something, but they try to judge your leadership skills.
You've managed to bring back the term Judeo-Christian, which
Yeah.
is no easy task. And you've walked that language back a little bit. You were using
No,
it
I'm not walking anything back.
You were using it in the context of advocating an agency that would promote Western values throughout the globe. Tell me exactly what you mean by that.
Well, you know, we had the Voice of America that enunciated Western values when the Soviet Union was trapping all of its people. We have a Western ethic, and this ethic is about equality for women, opportunity for everyone. It's about respect for science and education. It's about the right to protest, of self-determination. And I think those values are really critical for us to realize that's who we are. And I think it's very important that we communicate those values all over the world.
And sir, why did you use that particular choice of words, Judeo-Christian, which is
that's
limiting
really
in its scope?
Well, I don't think it's limited at all. I think it's who we are. I mean, the values that flow from our Jewish and Christian traditions that our founders used are really, really important. You know, it's also is what's built into the Western ethic. So I think it's really good. And secondly, though, we don't want to exclude, when we are to communicate, particularly in the Middle East, we want to include those moderate Muslims who, as we notice and we're happy to see, are beginning to push back and say their religion has been hijacked. But I don't think we should run away from who we are or what our values are. I think it's really important for us because I think they represent life as opposed to people who somehow think that by causing indiscriminate death that somehow they're going to have a reward somewhere.
Sir, they often say that people don't remember what you say, they remember how you made them feel. You've got an opportunity on December 15th with the debate coming up. How do you want voters to feel about you after that debate is over?
Smart, concerned about them, understand their problems. You know, I've done 31 town hall meetings in New Hampshire. Being able to get up at each of these for an hour as opposed to 11 minutes is really a better way to add everything together, but everything matters, everything counts. My one daughter has really brought me first to Snapchat, but our people pretty well knew about Snapchat, and I'm, like one of the world's great snappers now. By having young kids too, you just stay in touch with a lot of things that younger people are connected to, but I'm sort of young at heart anyway. The music I listen to, the way I dress, it's just natural to me. So we have a
What's
great
on your
family.
playlist for your campaign? What are your top tunes?
Well, I have a number of, I just was listening yesterday to Radiohead.
Okay. Do we have a theme song? So if we're getting
No,
ready for a
really.
debate, do we have a theme song?
No, not really. We keep changing it all the time. I get bored by the same old song.
Immigration is taking center stage in this election in a way that no one could have conceived a few weeks ago. You are in support of pausing the resettlement
Right.
of Syrian refugees to Ohio, which is keeping in line with a lot of governors in this country, most of them Republican. Is that something that you feel compelled to in your own heart? Or is that something you're responding to based on how you feel the public thinks?
Well, if I don't know who these people are, and I think some of them could be intent on harming us, we wouldn't want to have them in. That's not a matter of politics. That's a matter of using your brain. The fact is that we don't know who they are, and our intelligence people say, we can't determine who they are. We got to take a pause. That just makes total sense. I have an obligation to carry out my responsibilities to make sure that I do everything I can to protect the people of the state of Ohio, because I am the governor. I said that before, but the reason I said it before is, Ohio's a really important state. We're talking about politics here, and no Republican has ever won the White House without winning Ohio. It's a really important place. But look, my first responsibility is as governor of the state, and and one of the things I have to do is to work to make sure our people are going to be safe in their homes.
Speaking of safe, the SAFE Act, is that a smokescreen for some?
Look, I just want to know who these people are, okay?
Sure.
And when the federal government just relies on interviews, like I'm going to interview to figure out who you are, I don't have a lot of confidence in that. They're going to have to do better than that.
Dude, they don't just rely on a couple of interviews. It's much more extensive than it is in other countries.
Yeah. James Clapper, one of the highest intelligence officials, said we have no way of determining who these people are. I can't guarantee you. Until he says that we can, we shouldn't let them in.
What would the first 100 days of a Kasich presidency look like?
They would be given a plan to balance the federal budget, which would include cutting taxes, restraining government, freezing regulation for a year, reducing taxes on individuals and corporations, and rebuilding our military. That would all be done in a significant program to try to relink our allies with us. We can have a very strong relationship with our allies, and we carry out our leadership role in the world.
Yesterday, convicted spy Jonathan Pollard is finally a free man. He is the only American to be sentenced to life in prison for spying on an ally. He would like to return to Israel. If you were president, would you let him?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know enough about it to give you an exact answer, but my inclination would be to say yes, he served his time and probably ought to be able to go back. Why wouldn't he?
The President Obama has said no, that he should not be allowed back. I think legally he cannot go back for another 5 years. He wants to go there now.
I'd have to know. I don't know anything about that, but
Well, his name has been used as a diplomatic bargaining chip for the last
I just
30
can't.
years.
I can't. Look, part of the deal is that when you're an executive, you don't really make snap judgments. I can say this is my inclination, but I don't understand all the implications. And once I know it, I can give you a better answer.
You're currently in a Twitter war with Donald Trump. At what point do you just sort of say to yourself, this is stupid?
What is stupid?
Engaging in a war of words on Twitter with another candidate.
Look, I'm just talking about issues. I understand he's, I don't know. I haven't looked at any of his stuff, and I don't direct our stuff. But it's important to talk about issues. It's important to express yourself at this point in time about the right policies, particularly on national security. But I'm not going to go into any personal stuff with him. I have no reason to do that.
You filed a complaint with the FCC after Trump's appearance on SNL.
It wouldn't matter who was appearing. Even if it was
Advocating
you,
for comparable time,
Yeah.
which would be about 12 minutes. If you were given that 12 minutes, how would you use it?
To tell people who I am, let them get to know me a little bit.
If you had your
I don't
druthers,
know.
who would
I
you
don't
pick?
think so. Who would I pick? Oh, crap, I don't know. How about David Duchovny?
Okay.
Who I don't know who he is, but they say I look like him a little bit. Is that right?
I can see it.
Yeah.
I can see it. Now you've got a campaign.
Or Harrison Ford, but he's getting awfully old.
Now
You see that too? Okay.
you've got a campaign staff that's relatively young. How diverse is your campaign staff?
Well, we have about 40 people, and I have a woman that runs my campaign, and you got a lot of people, a lot of young people.
How ethnically
I don't
diverse
hire
is your?
them. I don't do that. How diverse? I don't know them all. But we recruit everybody. Anybody that wants to help, we want to bring them in.
Tell
Men,
me-
women, all race, it doesn't matter. We want anybody.
What is the best part about being on the road?
Well, it's all really cool because it's once in a lifetime experience. I mean, you're running for president, it's legitimate, and it's you meet a lot of good people, and it's really unique experience. I mean, you go a lot of places, and when I'm not on the road like this, when the day will come, I'll miss it. There'll be a lot of friendships I'm making, and those will be serendipitous days.
Do you have a workout routine while you're traveling?
I try to work out every day.
What are we doing?
Elliptical,
The elliptical.
Or
Where do
running.
you do that?
wherever I am.
Your ISIS plan is four-pronged. It's to invoke Article 5 of NATO.
Yeah.
It's to arm the Kurds. It's to enforce the Syrian no-fly zone, and it's boots on the ground.
Yeah.
Specifically, how many
That's
boots
good.
on the ground?
That's good, but it's not just that. It's also intelligence. It also affects, our relations versus Russia. It affects our relations versus China. It involves what we need to do in Eastern Europe. Commanders-in-chief don't set battle plans. They have people that do that, and you have folks that sit in a room and argue with one another and discuss what's the most effective way to accomplish things, and then the commander-in-chief makes a decision. So I couldn't begin to tell you how many, because that's not my job.
As president, are you prepared to address the elephant in the room? Pardon the pun. The elephant in the room being the Saudis.
The Saudis have gotten away with too much.
So what would you do?
Well, I'd tell them they're going to cut it off, but I wouldn't do it in front of a bunch of cameras. I'd tell them privately, because their future's at stake too. And they're going to come to that realization.
Just got a couple more questions for you.
You're doing a good job.
Oh, thank you. In the last several months, 50 intelligence analysts have come forward and said that the information that they gathered on ISIS, that they then sent to senior defense officials, was manipulated.
Something like that on something that critical, you have to fire them.
Who's them?
Whoever was doing it.
These are senior defense officials
Well,
who
if
these
they-
analysts are saying
Well,
have
if you get to the
manipulated
bottom
them.
of it, I mean, I've been an executive where people have been accused of certain things. Sometimes we find out that they're true, and when they're true, we either ask them to resign or we fire them. I mean, you just have to find out who these folks are. This is a very serious matter. And if we find out that that's true, then you're going to have to clean house. I mean, it's just what you have to do.
You were instrumental in the Goldwater-Nichols Act of
I was.
1986.
Also, gave more power to the combatant commanders to come and talk about what they need out in the field, so everything didn't get run through the Pentagon.
Is it time for a tune-up of that legislation?
I think
given-
so, because I think it was also about jointness too. Everybody has to have joint experience, and everything gets carried away. So now jointness may have been taken to a great extreme.
Where did we go off the rails
On where?
on the Nichols Act, on the Goldwater-Nichols
Oh,
Act?
I think it's been by and large pretty good, but I think we just have to be careful that we don't. We have to always keep reforming and innovating things, and the jointness is a good idea. But if all you got to do is salute jointness, and it becomes a religion, and it gets carried away, and it keeps you from being able to be as efficient and as effective as you need to be.
Governor, how do you distinguish yourself in this current GOP field where no experience necessary is leading the day?
Just be yourself. If people get it, great. If they don't get it, that's the way it goes. My deal is to put in the sweat equity to give everything I have, my team give everything I have, and then we let the voters decide.
You're no dope, sir. That's why people like you, you're a straight shooter, and you're known to reach across the aisles and work well with the others. You've got the chops and experience that many others on the stage don't have. How do you plan on breaking through the noise?
Coming to New Hampshire and doing 31 town hall meetings and I don't know how many house parties, and it all will settle out. A lot of people, we have people dropping out. We have no intention of dropping out, and we got about 80 days to our midterm.
And why are...
And then we'll have a midterm. We'll see how it goes.
Why do you think governors are having such a hard time this cycle?
I'm not having a hard time this cycle. I'm doing well. So I can only speak for me. We got enough money to continue. We're going to keep moving forward. And everybody's always doubted whether I could, get in the race, raise the money, get on the stage, and all these things are working out.
Are you ready?
Ready what?
Okay. So Black Friday is coming up.
Yeah.
Lots of sales. The competition is fierce. Okay? It's 4 a.m. You're lined up outside of Walmart.
I wouldn't be doing any of that.
Just work with me for a second.
I'm not gonna be lined up.
Just see where it goes. Just see where it
Okay,
goes.
all right.
So
Okay.
Black Friday is coming up. It's fierce. Lots of sales. You are lined up outside of Walmart. It's 4 a.m. You have a choice. You can either have Bernie Sanders with you or Secretary Clinton. Who's going to be your go-to?
I'll have them both. We can
You can
have a
only
nice
have
chat.
one. Someone's got to make a mad dash for home goods, and someone else has got to go to electronics.
They're both personally, they both be entertaining. I can't make a choice. It's too hard because I'm going to have to make a choice once I get into Walmart as to what I'm going to buy. Go ahead.
And finally, sir, what are you grateful for? What are you thankful for?
Oh, I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for having the opportunity to be able to live out my God-given destiny.
Thank you, Governor.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you.